Welcome, Hunters, to Hunters Hub episode 42. Today, we're going to talk about the fun Monster Hunter speedrun event that two of our guests were a big part of. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about Behemoth. Maybe not a whole lot about that. I know that Toaster and I haven't got to play that as much as we would like to. But maybe you guys can pick up the slack for us.
Nice. Speedrun.
The threw me off. All right. So we'd like to thank Wolfie Mellon for the music, Jeremy Clark for the art, and r/Monster Hunter World for being our friends. So without further ado, this is Fortuan, your host and co-host Toaster.
Hello, hello.
Wow, that was very very deep and sensual out of nowhere.
Nice.
And welcome back, Brother Virtue, or just Virtue.
Hey. Just Virtue, it's fine.
And then
my brother.
Oh yeah. And then new guest Omni Toad.
Hey guys.
Woo!
Is that kind of like the Hypno Toad?
Maybe.
Okay.
It's actually any kind of toad because Omni means all.
It's all toads.
Right.
He is all the toads.
It could be a paratoad, it could be a glass toad, it could be a sleep toad.
Whoa.
Whatever toad you want.
Funny true story. We call my uncle Uncle Toad because he collects toads.
Nice.
So
that's what I aspire to be.
You're the
So
uncle
first things first, Omni Toad, how did you get into Monster Hunter?
Oh jeez.
Oh yeah, everyone forgets. You didn't prep them. We
My
interrogate you.
No, that's fine. I want to say that when I actually started playing, it was a very strange way to get into it. But I had a PS Vita back in like 2012.
Sure.
And
like 4 people. Okay.
yeah, and I was looking for games that were like good on both Vita or PSP. And I ran into, Freedom Unite. I've seen Monster Hunter a couple times at that point in my life, but I was like, you know what? Let me just buy Freedom Unite on the Vita and try it out. And I got into it, and I started playing. It was just solo. I didn't really know anyone else that had the game. I didn't really get that far, like maybe a bit into high rank, like Village or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was way into it at that point. And then right around the corner, of course, 2013, March, was 3U. So then that's when I got way, way into the game. Like I got into it, started watching streams. That's how I actually met Virtue, as he was streaming around the time, and I was just a viewer at that point.
Okay.
And I watched him. And I watched, Newbert and all of them too. And
the pupil became the master and outgrew us, and he got all big and got all the Twitch girls.
Isn't that how it always works?
Typically.
I mean, we just pass our skills on to someone to make it better.
I'm okay with being a forerunner.
Okay. All right, cool. So we have a couple other quick questions for you. First of all, if you have a main weapon, what is it?
hunting horn.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Unpopular
He's
choice,
good at
but
it,
for some
too.
reason we get a lot on the podcast here that are hunting horn. That's awesome. And then top 3 monsters.
Oh no, that's that's the hardest question so far.
It normally is.
Don't worry, it gets harder.
Well,
Because there's so many of them.
There was a moment when I was at work and I was like, "Yeah, they're gonna ask him questions," and I was like, "Nah."
I'm not gonna tell him. Back to work. Probably say Tetsukabra is up there.
Okay.
It's a plus. It's a huge plus.
Yes.
He's gonna pick all the frog ones, isn't he?
No, just that one. I was thinking about Zamtrios, but Zamtrios isn't quite up there. But no, Tetsukabra.
Doo-doo game?
Tigrex. I really love Tigrex. And actually, Bracky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's pretty solid choices.
Yeah.
Like I say, I love every monster except for King Shakalaka. So
It's like Bracky. I think one thing that's special about Bracky for me is that in 3U he felt perfect to fight with Hunting Horn. His head was at just that right height, and if you got your placements down, like it felt so good to be good at.
Yeah, he was really fun with Hammer for the same reason.
I agree
Because-
with the hammer remark. That was one of the
Yeah.
best hammer fights.
Oh, well,
I
his
think
golf
I've
swings,
experienced in
the
the
golf
series.
swings hit his head perfectly. Like,
It's clean.
Oh yeah, and breaking it on a golf swing,
Mm-hmm.
so good.
he also has
Yeah.
a pretty low
LS
initial
fade
KO
slash out of an
tolerance.
explosion.
Oh yeah,
Girl.
but he has a pretty low initial KO tolerance. I think slightly lower than most monsters. So like that was another nice thing about impact weapons on him.
Wasn't he also like super susceptible to poison and like one
Oh,
or two
all
other elements?
brute wyverns in general
Yeah,
were
true.
pretty. Yeah.
I mean, with Kelby Bow,
Oh no.
everything was susceptible to blast.
Oh no, something's wrong
That
with
was-
Audacity. I guess I have to leave.
Glitched out.
Dare you bring up that slame weapon?
All right, well, Toaster, I think you have a favorite question for Omni Toad.
All right, Omni Toad. If you could take any monster on a date, which monster would you take?
Let's see.
Take your time. It's an important decision.
It
It is very
decision.
important. More important than all the other questions.
Pretty sure I what to this and then struggled.
Just what?
Trust me, when it first came up to us, we did too.
Yeah.
I think it was a good solid 5 minutes of laughter and confusion.
Mm-hmm.
If it makes it any better, they don't have to be monsters. They can also be like the Monster Girl type of things.
Oh no, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go that direction. Thanks. No.
No anthro in here. No anthro.
No furries, please.
Well, maybe it's just somebody who's wearing a dress.
No. No, I'll take. I want to see between me and Dodo Gama, who can eat faster.
Okay,
That'd be fun.
that's a hot first date. Hot dog eating contest. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Maybe we get
You
Joey
like Lady
Chestnut.
in the
Maybe
Tramp
Wait
like
a
a
minute.
wiggler?
We gotta get
Ma-
Joey Chestnut to join us. See how.
Maybe I should have said dumpling or something a little less visual, I guess. Anyways,
I just realized, sorry, I put something in my head with the girl wearing a dress thing. Going out with an Ursula, being like, "What are you wearing?" Oh, it's just, like, it's dead.
I'm just wearing purple jip today.
Yep. I didn't feel like bringing out the Kezu.
Ugh. Ugh.
Shrouded Nursilla. Yeah. It's great.
I like that it's
Okay.
wiped to nothing.
The swing. It's the Spider-Man. It's the Spider-Man 1, the game, swinging from the sky.
Yes. Yeah, especially in the desert. Oh my gosh. It's like, okay, where did you grab what? Is that a star? All right. So we'll get into the main topic. The reason why you wanted to bring Omni Toad on here, Virtue. We're glad to have you, Omni
Oh,
Toad.
don't put this on me.
Oh well, I'm putting it on you. You suggested it, and I agreed. I think it was really cool. So you guys went to a speedrun event, right? What?
Tournament.
It's called speedrun again.
What? Time attack? What do you want me to call it?
Yeah, time attack.
Okay, time attack for Monster Hunter. We talked about this before you were going to go. I didn't get to catch a stream. I've got a lot going on, unfortunately. But so basically, how did it go, guys?
I know you
How'd
sponsors don't have time for us for this. Us
I'm
little
sorry.
performing-
Like, I mean,
these we dancing clowns.
Aw.
No, wow, that just got dark. I'm sorry. I mean, go ahead, Toad. Tell them. I've already written and talked about it a little bit.
The event overall was just a really fun time. Like, we went there. We practiced for a little bit. We had 2.5 weeks or so.
Yeah. Probably.
yeah.
So not nearly as much practice as some of the other teams there. So we went, confident that we could do well. At the very least, just put on a good performance, and that's
Right.
pretty much what we did. We went there. We ended up getting third place, but the teams
That's amazing.
the teams that got first and second were like so far ahead of everyone else that like I don't feel bad about losing to them because they're just
Right.
there are people that have been
They're just that
practicing for
good.
way longer than us and way harder than us as well. So
Right. They turned it into a true full esport. While you,
yeah, I mean there was 2 people that are used to doing time attacks, and then the other 2 were just training for a lot longer. And I've also done slight time attack stuff, so
so what was your guys's? I know there was a series of hunts. Which hunt would you feel you guys did the best?
Well, it was two rounds. There was basically the qualifier, which is the Pukey quest, which is like the way you do it in that setting is like you lock it down with light bowgun, and the hammer just hits the head until it dies. Like that's the whole run.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah,
We did all right. I think Virtue said he missed a few hits, so we
I
had
choked a little bit. There's like
No.
there's a method to the madness. Obviously, you want to try to go for like your optimal button inputs, but
but even
early
then
on,
we still made it in. Like that's the thing. Like it's still just because we did the strat, we still made it in. And then,
Right.
Nice.
The nerd quest, I feel like that's the quest where it actually comes out like, all right, how good are you at actually doing the hunt, not just locking it down and doing a combo.
right.
So that quest we did pretty well. We actually didn't. I mean, it might sound kind of sad from the outside that this is an accomplishment, but we didn't cart at all during the quest.
That's
Which is
I
like-
mean,
it's hard to mitigate that in that situation.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot more going on than most people give credit. So
Yeah.
when there's something
I mean-
at stake, then
Yeah.
it just kind of amplifies that.
Well, I mean, part of it I understand is you're going for time. You're going for the highest kill.
Yep.
So you're not going to be running in there with the normal sort of balanced set that a lot of people use. Like a lot of people have a lot of defensive things also on top of attack.
Yeah, TAs are usually within the parameters set by, other runners as well as just like officially this is what is expected or what is considered.
Well, and specifically in these ones, it's the arena quest, so you're given a loadout, so it's not like you have a choice of what you're actually bringing. There's
Well, yeah, I
five
know.
choices.
What's provided.
The way it's
Right,
more
but-
in the way you have to play. You have to play, because you can play super safe and not die, but you're also going to get a slower time doing that. You kind of have to have a mix
Yeah.
of safe and, go for risky strats as well.
Well, what I'm getting at is like your average hunt that isn't a part of these arena quests, people are going to be sort of overgeared for Nergigante.
Oh, yeah.
Or try to be.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, you really shouldn't feel ashamed for dying, even if you are just doing that quest in general. I mean, there's a reason why they give you 8 feints, because it's very hard because you're at or below that level.
Yeah, I mean the balance of the weapon opposed to the balance of the gear, like the weapon has the ability to shine in the situation and be
Sure.
the difference or like the dividend, but the armor is also the weaker or the not strong part of that aspect. So you have to mitigate between like how much damage are you putting out, how much damage are you taking in. It's a team effort, so it's not something that you're doing as an individual. It's not scaled for an individual, so training as an individual is that much harder to do. There was like a whole slew of R&D that was done between Toad and I on like the qualifier as well as the final challenge that was given
Right.
to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing you guys got third. I would have never been able to do that. Most of the time, just doing by myself in those quests, faint at least 5 times, just because of the gear. And I'd like to be overgeared.
It's a huge difference from like you were saying earlier. It's a huge difference from the normal play. Like normal play, you have maxed out stuff. You've got possibly health augment, so it's like even less risky.
Yes.
And then you play that way, and it's like, wow, this thing's hurting. This thing's hitting me for over half my health, and I have to use a max potion to heal this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine you don't want to take time to sit and chug potions either. It's just like, nope, we have to go.
No,
now.
if that's
There's
like
not
if you're
even
out of
time to
max
sharpen
potions.
in that mission, to be honest.
Really?
You lose
Wow.
time if you sharpen, definitely.
Wow, even with the damage decrease?
Well, I mean, the armor came with Master's Touch, Which,
Yeah.
And then,
Oh,
and then
okay.
there was other aspects just to the weapon itself as well as the armament that coupled. And so, I mean, you were doing more damage if you were stacking on the other player. You were getting like a sparking effect with the sword mode of the switch axe. You were also doing more damage by hitting critical spots, which were the white horns. So you wanted to let them mature and go through the process, but if they became black, then you'd be bouncing and you'd lose out on DPS. So there was a lot of different variables to like take into account, as well as just working cohesively with someone else to accomplish the same goal. So like if one arm was pre-scarred, then horns would be growing in it, so you'd want somebody to focus that. But if there's already horns, say on the opposite, the head, the tail, the wings, and you felt like you could then get to it, you were working collectively together in a series of flinches and knockdowns to lock the monster and then deal the most damage together. And there were moments in the fight where say like Toad didn't have a full sword file, or I was on an opposite end of the fight, like I was at the back end of the monster, so we weren't getting the full amount of DPS that we were aiming for. But I mean, like we still performed within the norm of what we were able to accomplish within the short amount of time that we were training for. So
Yep.
I mean,
I'm pretty happy about it.
Congrats. I'm sorry I didn't get to watch. Life got in the way. But I was happy to have our logo on your shirt. That was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
I mean, that was a lot of the little small sponsorships were done in like from a sarcastic humor point of mine, but at the same time, it was also nice to go out there and rep things that are a part of the Monster Hunter community. Like you guys are talking about Monster Hunter, you're bringing people on to do things in Monster Hunter, and I think that's important that like we kind of build our own environment. So in that regard, I was grateful that you let me go out there and rep you guys, and at the same time we went out there and repped Adopt a Hunter and took a stab at our friend Sammy for the Swag Kingdom. So I mean, it was pretty cool. It was nice to have like an official looking eSport jersey.
Yeah.
So gladly do it again.
Do you know if they're going to be uploading it for anybody to view it now post?
I mean,
It's
all
on
there.
Twitch on 2 different channels, on YouTube on one, and I don't know if it's on a Facebook or not, but
I'm gonna link it in pod chat.
Nice.
I have it open. I just have it open right now, just because in case you guys were gonna talk about it, I just had it ready.
Hey, I'm actually prepped. What?
Look at Omni Toad being better than the hosts.
That's been happening a lot lately.
And if you, if you did want to see
our run.
it's at like 3:38.
Heck yeah,
Okay,
we want to see it run.
Yep, I will definitely watch that after the podcast.
Yeah.
We'll make sure to send you a message whenever we see like a missed attack or something.
Please don't spam.
I mean,
We couldn't do that, but let me. I see you're playing Monster Hunter World on a championship level. Let me critique you.
hey, it's just like the league, the community. How could he miss that shot? I could do better. Even though I'm just sitting in my room.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of backseat gaming or driving or anything. Yeah.
Other than that, I guess like whatever you or Toaster are interested in it and about how the event unfolded or what was there or anything of that sort. That's on.
I only really had one more question. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't watch, but was this kind of like a everyone does their own speed run on different consoles and then they sort of tally them up at the end, or did everyone watch each other?
So
Go for
the
it, Toad.
qualifier was run more like a pools setup where
Yeah.
it's just mass amounts of people doing their quest, and then I guess the equivalent of TOs, like recording
Right.
times and making sure they have it right. And they did a few rounds of that. They had a whole area with like, I think it was four or five stations of 4 consoles each.
Okay.
And it was like sort of like you were going head to head with the team that was there with you, but really you're going against everyone around.
Okay.
They tried to get it a little competitive by making the stations go at the same time, but it didn't.
So like we were
it didn't
facing
matter.
2 TVs.
That seems
were
more like a
facing
hype thing.
The back end of 2 TVs. and
Yeah,
The
yeah.
team was supposed to sit across from us.
Yep.
And then they would go while we were going. We couldn't really see them, nor should we really be focused on them.
Yeah, that's how it was. Like we weren't focused on them at all. I was like, let's just do our run, and so we can.
But it was set up very like tournament style. So like,
Yeah.
if you were to go to like a Smash tournament or like a fighter game tournament where you have like the TVs like back to back, and like on the opposite side is other people, and it's like, oh, these guys won. Go ahead and move on to the next bracket. That's kind of how it was situated visually, but like how it was actually maintained. It was like, oh, you guys got your time? Okay, cool. Like you can interact with your stuff. You can't interact with your stuff. You need to sign this paperwork. This verifies this is what you did. This is who you are. And then later on, go ahead and check on back, and we'll update information as need be to what teams have, like, I guess, ascended in the ladder or descended or have a chance of competing in the finals.
That's kind of cool.
Monster Hunter is a very different type of game, so to run a tournament for it, it kind of was maintained differently than you would expect from your standard tournament style. Like,
Sure.
There was elements
makes
of other
sense.
games, but I mean, it's still Monster Hunter. So
Yep.
Okay.
Right, so then
but
after,
we were sitting there, and go ahead, Ted.
I was gonna talk about after the qualifier. Unless you wanna, do you want to talk about our snafu at the qualifier?
Well, I mean, I don't want to drag out like a long story, but I'll just say that like while we were sitting there, we could see other teams around us, and like you kind of see their screens, so we could see people like doing 2 bow guns or 1 bow gun, 1 gun lance, or like one SNS and dual blades or something. So like, and that was just for the qualifier. So
Yeah.
Huh.
most of those weapons weren't involved in it, but just to give you an example of like what we were witnessing around us.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. So
then
after the
finals?
qualifier, once the finals were, or once everyone, we knew who was in finals. It was posted on a board and everything. We actually got 6th place for Pukey, but that still got us into the top 8.
Okay.
So yeah, only the 8 best teams went on to finals, and I think 2 of the teams that were supposed to be in the finals didn't stick around.
Didn't make
or
it?
something.
They had shown 3 potential teams that were in the top 8 that never actually ended up being in the top 8, just because they either left or they were disqualified for whatever unknown reasons.
Yeah, they were just they had
decided
teams
that
there.
They didn't feel like they could compete.
Yeah.
So they dropped out.
So essentially, you guys were bottom because of that? Bottom of the top 8?
So yeah, relatively
Mid
close
of the
to
top
bottom.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, after finals were decided and everything, and it was actually way later in the day. Like we had our pool basically at 12:30, and then the actual finals top 8 didn't start until I think 5.
Yeah, it was around 5.
Oh, wow.
So we had a
long
lot of time
wait.
to hang out, mingle.
Kojima-san, Ryoza-san.
Yeah, get like signings
Fujioka-san,
done. There was a lot of stuff going
Kokoro-san
on.
We're all there.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And then, so finals are basically, yeah, like you were saying, like the first part was all free for all, everyone doing their own thing, with TOs next to them, recording times. Finals were on stage, one at a time, so we all watched each other's basically.
Yeah, kind of like Evo.
Yeah, that's like just how tournaments are run, where the top, maybe not top 8, but like top 32, top 64 are usually done on a stage of some kind, and streamed, of course. And yeah, they actually went in the reverse. It was the reverse order, so like they went from 8 to 1, and as far as like the order of the finals. So we were 6th, so we actually went 3rd.
Oh, okay.
We went up 3rd to actually do our run. And then so
I bet you that's a little nerve-wracking.
a little bit going earlier kind of sucks, because like you don't know what to expect of the teams after you. But if you're going,
we had a couple ideas in mind on like.
Oh yeah.
We were either going to run dual switch axe, or we were going to run dual sword and shield or SNS. And if we were later in the bracket, which is what we were hoping, and we'd been able to see at least 2 of the other teams that we were expecting to be primary competition, if not possibly better competition than we were able to put up, we were going to go out in the blaze of glory with dual SNS, and I talked Toad out of it as we got up there, because I was like, we could do this. We might have a chance at winning.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's like because we were going earlier, we wanted to make sure we put up a good time. But if we went later and we knew that the other team already got like a really, really good run, that we probably, it'd be
that we would struggle to beat.
Yeah, we would struggle to even like get close to. Then we're like, all right, so if that happens, then we'll just go Sword and Shield and just kind of have fun with it, you know.
If anybody put up like a sub 3, SNS was going to be our default too.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, even the
if
3 or
everybody
4.
was, we also didn't know that they weren't going to show the times. We thought like everybody would be privy to the time, but now that I realize it in hindsight, like it makes more sense that they would covet that information and then.
Yeah.
But we were aware of our time before anybody else was.
Huh.
Right.
And then all of us, pretty much all of top 8, we're all like just sharing our times with each other anyway. Like
We're all buddy.
we didn't
Like,
care.
good
We were all
job,
just telling each other the times and
Good old Monster Hunter community.
yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, my experience with tournaments is limited. I've been in one Smash Brothers tournament which we were eliminated in sudden death because my friend forgot it was sudden death. So he just charged in.
Just dicking around.
Yeah, that was Brawl, I think. So I've never been big on the tournament scene, although I do watch EVO occasionally, only for typically Mortal Kombat.
Ooh, that's neat.
I really like the Mortal Kombat tournament scene.
Yeah,
but
yeah. That's not one I usually hear too much about, but like it's still a really cool scene.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much Kung Lao. There always is. But yeah, like so it's interesting to hear like the experience. And again, I'm sorry I didn't get to watch it. I will watch it later.
Cool, dude. There was a lot of stuff going on there. It wasn't just like the qualifying and the finals. They had like signing. They had a picture booth. They had like a smaller Ryu quest available. They had like TVs everywhere. They had food trucks. There was people cosplaying. They had.
I mean,
like,
they just need to do this stuff.
Interact with all these activities. Say what now?
They just need to do this stuff in Ohio so I can finally
They
go.
just need to do more of it. Honestly, like,
Yeah.
like it would be cool if we actually saw a scene evolve out of this. And
Yeah.
it's kind of surprising that we haven't had it, but then again, I think it took Monster Hunter becoming as popular as it has with World for us to get any of these.
To even get this
benefits.
first one, yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely like historical in the sense of like Monster Hunter.
Maybe you guys are like the Cinderella story, and next time you guys like win the whole thing, kit and caboodle.
This is the start of a.
We went in as underdogs to the
Yeah.
teams that we were concerned with trying to beat. So
Yep.
I mean, kudos for third. That's amazing. Like that's
Yeah, I mean,
I can't.
We were happy with it. Like I was,
third out of 62 teams. That's like 120 plus people.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it's-
I'm pretty happy about it.
It's better than I ever did in anything.
Wow.
The way you say it, just
Pause before it. Anything.
Yeah, well, I've been, like I said, I've been going through a lot lately.
I never did nothing.
Well, I will say this: I was 8th in the world on War for Cybertron. If you ever want to play that game, I was eighth in the world for the first 4 weeks of it. The first month.
Wow.
That's it. That's all I've done.
Of the 8 players that played that game,
Hey, there was at least 20,000. Okay, at least. Not a lot, but at least. And I wrecked it with Optimus Prime. Okay, cool. Well, I guess we'll move into the second part of this. We'll talk about Behemoth now. Now, there's a couple. I don't want to dwell too much on Behemoth because this is probably going to be talked about for a while because this is permanent content, if I'm correct. I think
Yeah,
it is.
It is permanent.
Yeah.
it's permanent in the sense that I think that. Oh, never mind.
Well, it's permanent in the sense that it will always be there and it will always be available, just like Devil Joe or Lunastra,
Yeah.
as opposed to Kulve Taroth. So, yeah, because Kulve Taroth is technically permanent because she's always going to come back at some point, but you know you can always do this. So what I did personally is I got to the Behemoth quest, the final Behemoth quest, the actual one, and did it once. Failed miserably. I got commented and then the whole team wiped, and then I was done. But I do think that the fight itself is very interesting. The damage numbers coming up is very Final Fantasy, extremely Final Fantasy. In fact, it shows you, like when I'm playing Longsword, it's like Force Light Slash, 722 damage.
Tells you exactly
like,
what attack you're using.
Really?
Yeah, it was just like, yeah,
I missed
it's
that.
pretty cool.
Well, I mean, there's always been the visual of damage with World, but
Well,
it's
they stylized it a lot better in this one. But the thing I want to talk about first, because I was rolling on the ground laughing. The very first quest, the Kulayaku with the crystal.
It's
so good. Music. It's so.
Oh
good.
my goodness, the Chocobo race music that comes on, and the whips and everything is straight, just ripped from Final Fantasy VII, I think. I just like, oh my goodness, that took me back. I was like, whoa.
One thing that don't forget is since it's tied in with the online one, in the online one they have the golden saucer now, where you can go and you can do chocobo races, and you can also play what's it, triple triad, the only good part of 8. So yeah, you can actually race chocobos in Final Fantasy 14 as well against other players and breed them and stuff like that.
Oh, that's neat.
Now let me say one thing about 8 that I did like, because I didn't like the card game, is the going into random forest outside of the very first town, you could get mauled by a T-Rex.
Right.
It was the most hilarious thing ever. It's like, you're level 14. Here's a level essentially 99 T-Rex. Die!
So evil.
Oh, I loved it for that reason. I cracked up laughing as a whatever year old I was at that time. I don't even remember. But so yeah, the chocobo thing for the Kulayaku was amazing, and the fact that it grows. So like every time it does the blocking animation, it just grows.
It has the potential. I think as you damage the crystal, it might instigate or kind of proc that growth. But as that monster grows, it also does more damage. So once it gets to a larger scale, it can basically one-shot you.
Yep. See, everybody's talking about Behemoth, but I hadn't heard anybody talking about this other side. That's awesome.
I love
it. It's terrifying.
Yeah, I loved it. But I don't think you can repeat it, unfortunately.
I've struggled. I've had the SOS to get into other people's.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of sad. Like they should really fix that and like just release, or patch it in, just patch in like a repeatable version, because
I thought it was under the.
The quest also has more opportunities for spawning those cactars, so that's why I've SOS'd it as well.
Yeah, you like almost need. I mean, apparently now they have the chance to spawn a Wildspire Waste
and expeditions.
Yeah. And expeditions, but it sucks that you can't just do the quest again.
What are all the rewards from this update? Like, what is all this stuff you can unlock for your character? Or make for your character as well.
Some of the best armor that's currently in the game.
Oh yeah, that's right. I keep hearing about that.
The Draken set is like,
it's good.
The
arms are
really good. It's like the armor has basically changed the meta for a lot of weapons.
Wow.
I mean, it's a lot of crit and attack damage is what it is.
Well, it's basically
and
now you can
boost.
get crit eye and attack together without needing like attack gems,
right?
As well as crit eye gems, which it's just way better. And then you get Master's Touch on the set as well without needing to use 3 pieces of Teostra.
Oh,
right. Yeah, it's a really good set. I can't get away from my Val set. I just love it so much.
Are you rocking the Gamma Y, or are you rocking the Beta?
Beta, but I do have one piece of Gamma, which I think is
Beta build's solid, but the Gamma Y just has like 1 or 2 extra slots that makes that much of a difference.
Yep.
Yeah, but it has a bunch of dragon attack, and screw that.
I know with the Behemoth content, with the whole concept of tanks, healers, and DPS. A lot of people have been defaulting to a Gamma Y Lunastra set, where it's like Gamma Y
Beta.
Lunastra chest. Is it Beta?
Yeah, there's no arc tempered Luna yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not the Luna, the Vol.
Oh, the Vol, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like YYB.
Huh. So I'm gonna have to take a look then and see if I can integrate that Drakengard stuff into my current, king outfit, which is the 4 pieces of Wrath and then the waist of an Nergigante. It'd probably make it a lot better.
One build I've seen that has been just really good is basically 4 pieces of Draken. Yeah, I just said build. I was like,
so
whatever.
I caught myself.
It's okay.
No,
I mean, we understand what you're saying.
I was gonna say, 4-piece Draken, but the legs you use Dante.
Huh.
Okay.
And then basically at that point fill in the slots as you want.
Do we know when the Dante event's coming back?
It was just live as of the summer.
It was a summer festival.
Fest.
I'm not sure.
I would like to believe that we'd get something for fall, maybe Halloween. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a big leap, but I mean I don't think that it's a incorrect one either. We did a spring.
I think we'll definitely get a
should get a
fall
or a
festival.
winter.
Okay, because I think I missed part of it, so I need to go redo that again.
Yeah, the legs are the best part. So
It's still pulling for Pumpkin Oregon for sure. Pumpkin Oregon for
oh man, from
Halloween.
from Monster Hunter Explorer. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for because it is Capcom and Halloween, maybe getting like a Resident Evil crossover with like an undead monster.
You got Valhazak.
More undead.
We'll get another Val
Crimson Head.
We'll get another Val and Odo quest. They're both fleshy and.
I was still genuinely surprised that they put a turf battle between Val and Odo.
It's the strangest thing.
Elder.
Yeah.
And I wish that they had done more Elder non-Elder encounters, or had just had Elders roaming openly.
Yeah.
With non-Elder monsters. That'd be nice.
I love those interactions, and it's sad that they didn't have more of them, or they weren't more varied. I would
World
say.
Ultimate.
So you made me think of what a while ago I was thinking about this. What encounters these the non-encounter elders could have, and I was thinking like what could fight a Kieran, and I was just imagining it like lightning bolting. The other one that lives up there out of the air. I'm trying to remember what his name is.
Oh, Legiana.
Legiana?
So what?
Or Legiana?
Yeah.
Or,
it just lightning bolting a Legiana out of the air.
Haluma would be so sad to get struck down by a lightning bolt. Just
That'd be funny if he just got shot. Like, what if it did like a kite kind of Doc Brown style?
I was thinking it was just like his puffed up neck. It just pops.
Yep. That's what happens when you flash bomb him, and it's really funny.
Because
it's like the air let out of a balloon. It's like all over the damn place.
Everything else in that place beats up Palumu. Might as well have the legendary beat up Palumu as well.
Stabs it with a horn. Just goes everywhere. Oh man. Now I would say I could see Legiana coming in and surprising Kieran and picking it up. But then Kieran just completely zapping itself with lightning, and Legiana just falls, and Kieran just like lands on its feet
like
what
a
now,
real
punk?
Sassy pink Ian just pick it up and throw it off the side of the ledge.
So who would you have fight Teostra and Kushi then?
Kushi?
Yeah.
Well, because Kushi, you have to have him in the forest. I don't know. I would see Wrath going after Kushi.
Kushi
goes like a sky battle. Yeah, that would be really good.
They need what is it called when there's like a flame tornado?
Because
a flame nado.
You said
Kushi. Special name for it.
You said Kushala has to be in the forest, right?
A twister.
Well, Kushala can be in
a toaster?
Elder's Recess
Twister
as well.
standard.
Yeah.
Maelstrom.
Oh,
that's probably
there's an actual
Maelstrom.
word for it. Okay.
Anyways, have Kushala summon all the tornadoes and have Los shoot fireballs, and then those get sucked up into the tornadoes, and then you have just like a fire tornado just burning through everything.
They're
with
trying to fight
Lunastra.
each other, and you're just running around like, oh god, help!
I would love to see Basil and Kushala, just because when Kushala forms like a tornado around itself, Basil decides to like do one of its aerial strafing runs, so all the bomblets get sucked into the Kushala tornado.
No.
Just make
That's
a
horrible.
and converge and make it like a super nuke.
Or
Okay.
they get flung out in all directions. And
Oh,
hopefully
no.
one doesn't hit you.
Oh man, it's like a Delameter beam. Dive or you're dead.
Dun, dun, da, 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 da. Oh no!
Yeah. Now Teostra, Diablos for sure. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean they're
Yeah.
they can both be in Wildspire.
As long
Yeah.
as long as it involves the Diablos like ramming the Teostra and trying to pin it down, and the Teostra responds by supernovaing itself and throwing
Yep,
the
and
Diablos.
much,
And breaking both horns. Yep. I like it when I like Diablos, but it's really cool when something breaks its horn.
Oh, the
'Cause
the
it's like-
Joe.
I want
the Joe turf
a
war.
Tio and Kuliaku fight where Tio just blows up bombs around mortars and Kula just runs with an egg and weaves in between them. Doesn't have to fight back. Doesn't have to fight back. Just dips out.
Can't catch me, I'm the egg thief. Boom.
Hold on,
Oh man.
I have a gift for that. But keep going. I'll just put it in chat.
Oh, that running chicken with the explosions. That's what I was thinking of. That's what you're. If that's what you're.
Now I'm
posting.
thinking of Techno Chicken, not the chicken song.
Yep,
Techno
that's the
Chicken.
one. Exactly the one.
Oh jeez.
With the parakeet, the explosions. Yep.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
That
poor other parakeet, unaware. Anyways, so Behemoth fight itself, we didn't talk about too much. I got, like I said, I failed it pretty hard, but I understand the mechanics well enough. It's just that like I didn't realize the meteors that you're supposed to hide behind are so far away at times. So he started doing the animation, and I saw the text pop up, and I was like, "Oh crap! I gotta find one of those." So I turned and I sprinted straight for one, and none of us made it. No,
Yep.
It was too far away.
I saw a specific GIF where somebody was trying to. They were all hiding behind the rocks because there was the big red glowing spot where the meteor lands, and then the meteor didn't land there; it landed behind them, and took all of them. It's like we didn't think it was going there. We thought.
like psych.
I mean, I'm sure we could probably break it down really quick if you feel like you're limited on what.
Oh
that
no,
fight
I
is
understand the fight well enough. Videos and doing it myself once. I failed because it was just too far away. The whole what did they call it again? I was going to call it agita, but it's the
Enmity.
focus enmity.
Yep.
That I saw that come into play. I drew some enmity because I was trying to hit the horns. No one else was, and I like breaking things. I cut off the tail. And yeah, it was pretty tough because it feels like Monster Hunter 1 days where Rathalos just decided he hates you today and he's not going after anyone else.
So I actually was gonna ask that. Like, so what's the? I don't want to say the meta that you guys have seen, but what's the most common stuff that people are playing for like each role and things?
Lance. I've seen so much Lance for the head.
I would say
Wide
Lance
range
if
makes
you
up
have
healer.
if you have Mind's Eye, Lance is amazing because the one downfall of using Lance on him is hitting the chest by accident, which happens a lot if you're going for the head.
Right.
And
I
You
imagine.
need like guard up to block some attacks.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you
You
can't.
need like
block
guard
those
up
at all.
and like guard
and just normal guard.
at least like 3.
Skill increased.
I did really well by countering a lot of the meteors coming down.
Yeah.
That worked really well. So I ended up kind of tanking him as a longsword. That was fun to a degree.
Well, it's like a lot of MMOs where
Foresight's nice.
evasion tagging a thing.
Yeah, Foresight is nice because you don't need like levels of guard or anything. You just dodge things and you're good.
Yep, that's what I did. So I ended up being the tank in the fight, and we did okay. But even though we all died in the first comment actually was the very first one. The other two randos, because I just flared. I didn't feel like getting a group together. I was doing it real quick. My brother was visiting when I played. I just wanted to see it real quick, and I flared. Some people came in, and every time I flare, there are a lot of Japanese players. I don't know why. I don't know why it's always Japanese players, but whatever it is.
Because they outnumber
And-
us.
Yeah, that's true, maybe. But 2 of them died like pretty early on, so we were already like to 1 cart, and then the comet hit and we all died anyway. So it was like, okay, whatever. And then I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
you
that
got
was
it- you
fun.
got
And
the 6-cart quest.
there's a 6?
I was gonna say because you 2 people died and then
Oh.
all 4 of you died, so you got 6
Yeah,
carts.
yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, we did. Maybe one guy survived because he was kind of near the meteor, but I don't know. It didn't matter. We were all dead.
Yeah.
So, but in general, a lot of people say it's a really fun and challenging fight. I know I've seen just from Twitter, I've seen that Wolfie Melon hasn't succeeded yet. Last I knew, and she did it for like hours.
I had most of my successful runs yesterday, just because I haven't had much time to line up with people.
I find it
Yeah.
neat that it's actually something that's giving people quests or difficulties. Because a lot of times people are like, "Oh, the quest is so hard," and then it's like, "No, it's not. It's just, you know."
Well, I mean, Tempered Devil Joe was hard. People beat him, but he was hard.
Yeah.
But you could also fight Tempered Joe in the conventional Monster Hunter senses, and like it was skill related, player related. If you just tried different tactics, you were able to accomplish it. Whereas in Behemoth is almost more of a scripted fight in some regards, because it captures the elements of Final Fantasy really well in regards to positioning and positionals. So like those comets land, or the meteors land, and you have to move away from them, but you also have to stay close enough to them to where you can default to them. So the idea is that you are now actively trying not to have an element in the game damaged, which, as far as Monster Hunter World goes, and as far as Monster Hunter Past Tense goes, there's never really been like, hey guys, in this fight you can't have these things take damage, otherwise you lose. So it's a new concept to be absolved into playing the game by standard means. And then on top of that, certain moves can affect a wider area, like a conal or a direct line kind of thing. So you have to take that into account. So the tank is actively moving the monster while everybody else is just mitigating DPS. And then if you want to say that there's a healer aspect to it, like if we're absolving and taking in the concept of Final Fantasy, and these are the roles that we're supposed to be playing, then you do want to make sure that you're watching other players' health more so than what we're used to. Like typically it's like, oh, I'll LP you took a heavy hit. But this is a fight where you could take a heavy hit after a heavy hit after a heavy hit after a heavy hit. So they're delegating that role to somebody does make more sense.
Okay.
Yep.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and it's a cool fight. I honestly wish I had beaten it, but I mean, I took a look at the armor, and it was like, is it worth it to do it? And I was like, well, this armor's really freaking awesome, but it's not Val, so...
It also looks really good armor-wise, I'll say that. The armor looks fantastic.
There was a really cool screenshot of someone put all the saturation up or something, and the thing is just glowing.
I'm pretty sure that screenshot is actually like fake. Like they made it, like they did the brightness saturation, but then they added some more extra stuff on it just to like have a funny screenshot.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they did. I don't know. It was just...
I was going to ask, nobody's talked about it yet, how good is the insect glaive that you can get? The, gun gear or whatever I can't remember the pronunciation of it.
I don't remember. I think it's decent.
I made it, the Gale Bomb.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, they went with the Gale Blog, not the gun gear or whatever?
Yeah, it's the Gale Bomb.
Okay. But yeah, how's the Gale Blog?
I think it's like an average to good sort of a weapon. Like
Okay.
I think it does dragon or something.
Well, you can change the Kinsect. Like you basically unlock the Dragon Soul.
Yeah, that's the big thing is like having the Kinsect is really cool because you can use that in any
different
insect
versions
glaive.
of that. Many versions of that Kinsect. To my knowledge.
Huh. Wait, what's the Kinsect look like?
It's like
the Dragon Spirit from XIV.
Yeah, it's like an
really?
actual,
Summon
like,
for the Dragoon
spirit thing. It's crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, I saw someone use it, and I was like, what is that?
I believe it's like a miniaturized spirit form of Midgarden Swarmer.
That's cool. I'm always one that like I won't use I don't mind not using the top weapon if looks are a thing. Like I know a lot of people say like, oh the main reason I wanted Dante to come back is because I want his charge blade, because I love the idea of having just a giant sword with no shield.
And his charge blade is like not terrible either. Like it has tons of blue sharpness, it has pretty high raw. Like it's not gonna beat obviously Diablo's charge blade, but it's still it'll keep up a decent amount.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah,
Well, I think that's time for Monster Balloon.
it is.
Well,
I was thinking about doing since we're doing Lao Sheng, I was thinking about doing the Godzilla, but we already did that joke.
Yes, we did. We did.
I'm excited for the new movie that's coming out.
Is there a new Godzilla movie?
Next year.
Oh, what?
King of Monsters. They're gonna have
the
Mothra,
trailer looks really
Rodan, Gogidra.
Oh my god, I haven't
beautiful.
seen this.
It's got 11 from Strange. What is it?
Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Huh. All right. So I guess I can start this off. I'll just kind of go with the standard one. No puns this time. Hello,
Okay.
everyone, and welcome back to the Fabulous Monster Balloon. Today we'll be discovering the Lao Sheng Lung, one of the largest elder dragons in the world. Until recently. Lao Sheng Lung is a very old elder dragon. It's one of the oldest, actually, lore-wise and series-wise.
Yes.
It's one of also the first set-piece fights that ever was created, being where it's not just you find it out in a field and you hit it. Lao Sheng Lung has a specific map, as well as a specific path and set of actions it follows and takes. Oddly enough, unlike most monsters, until certain parts of the fight, it doesn't quite care about you. I will preface this because I'm not sure when people might be listening. This is before Double Cross comes out, or Ultimate 2, whatever we're calling it now.
Ultimate.
Ultimate.
More.
Generations X.
Yes.
I still wish they would have called it Next Generation, but that's just me. But,
yeah, that's sensible.
Apparently it's gotten a massive rework in the Next Generation, so we'll see. It apparently has more stuff it does.
I don't know where you heard that, but
Nope.
Nothing.
It snaps at you occasionally if you're on a bridge.
Aw.
That's it.
It's
All right,
always
well,
done that.
it's always been a very docile foe versus everything else where they get like really angry. Like for example, Gogmazios really doesn't like you as a person or as a hunter. He's just
No, it doesn't like you. It doesn't like your family. It doesn't like your wife. It doesn't like your kids. No,
It's
nothing.
oily, bro.
it doesn't like 90% of the arena it's in. Versus Lao Sheng Lang really likes walking forward. He's a big monster. He is a beat stick, and I believe in the original Monster Hunter, only two things could actually really hurt it because everything bounced or just didn't do enough damage. I had a friend basically. You can confirm this because I think everybody in here has played most of the original ones, right?
no.
Oh.
Trade Night was the furthest back for me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Fortuan, I know, has been serious since
Walk in
original.
the Lao. Walk in the Lao.
Since 04, baby.
What about you, Virtue? I can't remember. Were you one of the original?
Day one.
Okay.
Every day one.
So maybe you can confirm this, and this is something I keep hearing, or I used to hear from an old friend, was that old endgame Monster Hunter 1 was either heavy bowgun or greatsword, and usually heavy bowgun because bullets don't bounce.
Not entirely true.
Really? Okay. I'm glad
I
to hear
mean-
that.
That was true in my case, because those are the only two good weapons I played.
Good
In Monster
strats
Hunter
with
1?
both of those weapons that were end game compatible.
Right. For the longest time, people would say if you're fighting Fatalis, you're using heavy bowgun, and that's it.
The first
you
mix
can't.
set came from Fatalis.
Yeah.
Not his armor, but the fight itself. Either 3 parts Hornitar, 2 parts Vespoid, or vice versa, 3 parts Vespoid, 2 parts Hornitar, interchangeable. Gave negative, or what is it, plus 50 resistance for Dragon Element, which at the time nobody knew what the hell was, but apparently it staved off a lot of the Fatalis fight.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
that was the first real mix set in our game.
Was a set of armor that nobody
Well-
uses ever.
Well,
Oh, it's beautiful.
you were kind of forced to use a mixed set when you used Diablos because Diablos only had the head, chest, and arms. It didn't have the waist and legs.
Tutku
Really?
wasn't a full set either. That was
Yeah.
more like arms and chest.
Something like that, yeah. It was chest, yeah,
It
chest,
wasn't
helmet,
legs,
and
it
arms.
wasn't a helmet. It might have been a tacit, but it was no more.
I may
than
be
three.
remembering from Freedom 2, the helmet for Kutku.
Yeah, that was in the Freedom series. The helmet
So
and the leggings.
it has only appeared in one map, and that being the fortress. It has never appeared outside the fortress.
Why would it?
Never know. I wish it would appear outside the fortress, but that's just me.
You're not reading off the wiki, are you? Because I can fact check it.
I am. I mean, I'm using the wiki for reference. I wasn't going to put that.
Okay.
I wasn't going to just reveal that. But yeah,
Top of my head. I'm in the field researching.
just like the Fatalis, though, it does use it doesn't really have a type, but it's very weak to dragon types, which kind of makes sense because I don't believe it's actually ever confirmed, but it's heavily hinted at and suggested that the reason the Lao Shanglong is coming through this valley and going through this human fortress is because it's running from a Fatalis.
That is
correct.
canon lore.
It is actually
That
canon.
is-
was listed
yeah.
in the game in text.
Okay.
Yep.
That just shows me for not playing the
isn't-
first game.
And isn't the Lao also like not full grown?
Correct.
Correct.
Lao is a
Lao
very,
Shan
like,
in
juvenile.
the first iteration of Monster Hunter is a juvenile Lao Shan that is running from a more superior, vile Elder Dragon.
Okay.
Just like the good old Goble.
I don't think that
I'm
was.
done.
I don't think those 3 words have ever been said before.
I mean, I want to see an adult Goble. It's got to be the most nightmarish thing
I
ever.
love Gobel.
But
Me too.
Cool monster.
there's not too much to say about Lao Shan, unfortunately, and this is a little bit revealing where I got my sources from. It has appeared in the Frontier series, but I can find no descriptions of it, talk of how it acts in the Frontier series, or anything. So,
I think it's literally just the same fight.
Yep.
I mean,
There's also
yeah.
There's also 3 different Lao Shans in Monster Hunter Online.
really?
Yep. There's 3 versions of them. I'm not sure what the third one is. Just they're all there though.
Knowledge.
red, blue, and then
Sharing
it's
knowledge.
probably yellow. Just get all the primary
I
colors.
know, I'd
in
like a
there.
hot pink Lao Shan Long.
Gross.
With flames that goes extra fast. Vroom.
There's moments where you guys just seriously kill it for me.
I was thinking, that reminds me of Bomberman. Just like a Bomberman Laoshan.
You're talking about like how old it is and the oldness of its origins. Old is in its name. Lao
Is.
Shan Long means old mountain dragon.
Yep.
Right. Even though we're
And
singing
I didn't get that off the wiki. That was in my brain.
Oh, man. Isn't this also the first monster to flee, correct? Because you could actually...
It was the first quest to have a repel mechanic, which then was followed shortly there by Fatalis. So Lao Shan was encountered, I believe, at your bridging HR 12 to HR 13, low rank to high rank jump. You were given a Lao Shan quest to then jump forward into high rank, and then I believe roughly in the HR 18s, you were presented with another version of Lao Shan. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it
It's
was
been
the
a
high
long
rank one.
time. Yeah, and then Fatalis was essentially a HR 19, HR 20 quest. So
Yep.
but then that also
Which used to
had
be
like
the
a
max.
4-round situation. So I don't know if you call it a full repel or not.
One thing I can't...
Right, it was, you had 4 chances to repel it, with the 4th chance being you had to kill it, else you fail.
4 chances to kill.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to point out is...
Which is also true of old Elder Dragons, like Kushala.
okay. What I wanted to point out was...
Knowledge.
The weapons and armor it gives are very Asian inspired.
Yes.
They once again they kind of deal. Some of them have dragon damage, but a lot of them are decent sharpness weapons and actually have like a lot of red in their design. I know that sounds stupid, but
The Lao Shan nail hammer, the dual dragon ultimates, which was a combination of Fatalis and Lao Shan parts. The original greatsword that was visually like a longsword that later on became a longsword the Red Dragon Sword, or commonly referred to as the RDS in the community. We had a lot of acronyms back then.
That's true, yeah, because you had to type everything.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so we
right,
had-
because
that
it
was
wasn't long
DDU
swords.
for Dual Dragon Ultimates, RDS for Red Dragon Sword. The Lao Nail was its own thing. I believe that there was a gun of sorts.
There was
for
a heavy bow
Lao
gun.
Shan. Yeah, heavy bow gun.
The Supreme
But
Lao Cannon.
There wasn't an SNS. There was a Fatalis SNS. There wasn't a lance. There was a Fatalis lance.
Yep.
So basically, all the weapons that weren't filled by Lao Shan were then Fatalis weapons at the time.
It looks like there actually
Right.
was a lance for it.
Lao Shan lance?
Yeah. It required
probably
Lao
came
Shun and
later.
Gao Ren.
Lao
Yeah,
Shan,
Gaoran.
Shen Gao
Yeah.
Ran?
Oh yeah, never mind. So that was in the
That's later.
That's Freedom.
the
Freedom
remake.
2 and on.
That's right. One thing I would want to point out: the Red Dragon Sword looks a lot like the original, like the
It was a beautiful
kind of like the Wrath, like a fancy Rathlos sword. I particularly
Yep.
like the Lao Shung's armor, but that's because it's just
Aurora's, and then the females was Borealis, and the male's gunner was Genesis, and the female's gunner was...
Yeah, I don't remember.
Ah,
I just like
lost
the
it.
the very Asian inspired look of it. It's very samurai.
Now,
they brought
I
that,
will
the
say-
armor back as a layered armor in World.
yeah, it's the collector's box one you get.
No,
The digital deluxe, I mean.
that's just samurai armor. They brought back
Is it?
Aurora's and Borealis gear officially as a layered
Oh.
armor during Cull's spring event.
That's right, yeah.
And anytime that Cull rolls around, you have the ability to get it, and one's the Sabi and the other one's the Homar. One's a battle damage version, and one's just the standard.
Okay.
Huh.
I got it confused, because they're very similar.
But
Yeah,
in style.
samurai armor looks like samurai armor. It looks like samurai armor.
something I
Yeah.
wanted to
Borealis
notice is
samurai armor.
that's been a very kind of recurring theme with their large world set piece world bosses. Is it tends, at least for a while, it seemed like it tended to follow the samurai theme in that the two big sand drakes, I'm trying to remember what their names are now.
Jen Moran, Darren Moran.
Yeah, both the Morans are also have that same kind of samurai, very Eastern styled look, and they're also very big set piece
I always
monsters.
thought they viewed them as like a throwback to the original Lao Shan gears.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Probably
always
looking
were.
for- Even the long swords for them were like, I think one or both of them had like Naginata long swords,
Mhm.
which are really cool looking.
I do want to point out I really love the. It's not. I think it is from the original, but the Lao Shung bow. It's kind of shared that same design.
Oh, it's a classic bow. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's that big kind of. It's
got, like,
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
curved, not in the
Signature
middle.
bow.
Wood. It's a big wood bow for
Yeah.
like a traditional Japanese archer.
It actually, if anybody's here has used it, it kind of looks like the Rajang bow, where it's that very just long,
I
slightly
think
bent.
Rajang's a little more bushy with kind of like a straw appearance on some of the ends, but essentially the same.
Yeah,
wooden
yeah.
bow,
I just mean like the
The
shape,
base.
you know,
Yeah.
where it's a long bow versus just like a compound bow.
Well,
Nah, you're right.
I was going to say one thing. You talked about the RDS being one of the first longswords. Also, don't forget the Eager Cleaver was also a great
Eager
sword that
Cleaver
turned into a
was
longsword.
Really?
That was one
Yeah.
of the best swords throughout the early
Mm-hmm.
three generations of Monster Hunter. Was the Eager Cleaver build?
Yeah. I
Yep.
remember back when I played Freedom Unite, for the first time. Obviously, I wasn't looking at like wikis and I wasn't looking up motion values or attack on weapons at the time. But I remember making the Eager Cleaver, and I used it for a little bit because I was just like, this thing seems really good.
Yeah,
I'm,
it was a fun weapon.
I'm very glad that I have you guys, by the way, here, because I have never actually gotten to fight this monster. Not only not in the original game, but I never got far enough in Double Cross to fight this monster yet. We'll see if I get to fight it in Generations X.
Ultimate.
Generations Ultimate.
I was going to keep giving it different names at this
GU.
point.
Do it. Come up with your best generations movie remark.
It's a boring fight.
Oh,
There is also a
Is that the name of your movie?
A boring fight.
I feel like that's like a good Jackie Chan movie.
There's also a subspecies of Lao Shan Long. It is the Ashen Lao Shan Long, and can you guess what
blue.
it looks like?
He's blue.
I would describe it as more gray.
He's a gray blue.
Because his equipment definitely is blue. It's basically the same models, but more blue.
It's the same stuff.
It also has the coolest...
It's like they took Rathalos and they said, here's
It's
an
the
Azure
same
Rathalos.
stuff with like 2 or 3 sharpness values.
Yeah. I will say it has one of the coolest dual blade names. The Ultimus Heaven and Earth. That sounds amazing.
Sounds very Animu.
There's also a hammer that's called the Claw of Doom, and I kind of want
Parts
it.
of Lao Shan gear actually went into the Shinobi sets. That was a combination of the Lao Shan Fatalis armaments.
Oh, yeah.
Huh.
So like it wasn't that you just got your own Lao Shan gear and you got your own Fatalis gear, but by having combined pieces of the gear or the drops, you could make Shinobi Sun and Shinobi Moon, and then with Ashen Lao, they expanded upon that. And I think you got Shinobi Earth and Shinobi Heaven, and then with some of the weapons, you got to play on words with that. Whereas then you typically get Sky and Land, King and Queen with like Los and Ian. You got a lot of like Heaven, Earth, Yin and Yang references with Lao Shan and later games. And then we also touched up on Shen Gao, and Shen Gao is of the Caprician family, the crabs. And it inhabits its own skull of a Lao Shan skull, so it's like one of the only. Presumably, maybe there's a predator prey dynamic with the Lao Shan and the Shen Gao. It's hard to say, and the names are also kind of a play on each other.
Yeah.
And, I keep going.
Oh yeah, keep going. Sorry, I was just gonna say something.
So
Now-
in Monster Hunter Freedom, Monster Hunter Dose, which we didn't get stateside.
Nope.
In the village of Jumbo, which is kind of bordering an ocean, or essentially an ocean. So it's kind of like a Mocha Woods, but originally in Japan. And that village, who cares about the nomad chief? So there was a mine inside of that village. Normally, in the later iterations, like mostly second gen and on, we've got like a farming area. And in Dose, there was a mining cave. And as you progressed in the offline story, you excavated more of the cave to the point to where eventually you unearthed a Lao Shan skull. And instead of pulling like a Master Sword, which you pulled from the first Monster Hunter PS2 days, behind your house in Kokata Village, in Jumbo, you pulled out a SNS that is kind of like a miniaturized RDS.
Really?
With a shield from, and it's actually the horn. You retrieve the horn from the Lao Shan, and that becomes your weapon of accomplishment for defeating the village in Monster Hunter Dose. And then later on, I believe that you're even able to combine the SNS down a series of trees that it becomes a pair of dual blades, or maybe that was Unite that progressed the weapon to where, because in Unite there was moments where SNSs could bridge into dual blades, and dual blades could bridge back into SNSs. And
That was in the original Monster Hunter, also.
Yes, no. Because we couldn't go backwards in the original Monster Hunter.
Oh no, you couldn't go backwards, but that's how you got dual blades. As you started out as SNS.
Correct, but you started either Bone Chris or Iron Sword.
Right.
But in Unite, there was a bridge path where you'd start building on the sword, and then that sword could go into the dual blade, which wasn't very common throughout the remainder of the series. And you got dual RDS's miniature, and that was also a weapon.
Nice.
Sorry, I'm just full of these useless Monster Hunter facts.
Oh, it's kind of cool. I did want to point out there is something I saw that's just it makes me just feel upset. In Freedom Unite, not one, but Freedom Unite version, the Sword and Shield, the final Sword and Shield you can get from the Lao Shang Long, requires Lao Shang parts, Azure Lao Shang parts, as well as Yamatsukami. I can't remember. I can't never say that thing's name. The Yamatsukami parts. That is a lot to get a sword and shield.
Yes.
Fail Octo.
But yeah, I didn't even realize that he was in Freedom Unite.
I don't know.
But so I did have a question for you, just because unfortunately I don't want to say Lao Shenglong is not interesting, because that's not 100%.
I found it
true.
compelling, but it was the experiences with other players that I think that made the fight more
That's
interesting.
true. I mean, it was
that's usually
really
what it is.
funny to try to dodge the tail. It was really funny to do that.
We used to tell people to try to cut the tail and then get killed back there.
Yes,
The
that
old
was
terminologies.
that was a favorite rumor for sure.
Mhm.
That's evil.
There's the old tech is known as like walking the Lao, and there's certain areas of the monster that if you engage with particular weapons that are make it easier, then you set Lao into what we call Lao Rampage mode, which it doesn't really exist, but it just makes him faster. It makes Lao move through zones quicker, and that's walking the Lao. Then there's tripping, which is mostly done with lances, can be done with hammers, not really advised with other weapons due to the lack of sharpness or the ability to reach and do larger damage. But tripping on the front legs usually puts down for like a 10-second-ish timer. Tripping on the back legs usually puts down for like 15-second-ish timer.
We did it with barrel bombs and great swords.
There's also face flinches. There's breakable parts. Both shoulders of the monster, the back crest of the monster, the horns, or the primary horn on its nose, as well as the horns on its overall face or head.
Yeah, sort of like the crest.
And then you can also write it in between zones and then carve on the back.
Right.
In later iterations, that was like one of the only ways to acquire a heavenly, which is like you got like your plates, and then you got your harder version like rubies, and then in the early iteration of the game it was heavenlies, but now I think we're abiding by gems.
Yeah. Divine plates.
Yep.
So I have a question then. What if they were to bring in Lao Sheng for a world monster, what would you like to see them do with it? Would you like to see like a complete overhaul of the fight? Would you want to keep it the same walkie fun times? Or is there anything like specific you'd really want if they were to bring him up? Or would you just say like, no, don't bring him up at all?
I don't think bringing him up is a great idea, because what it's going to end up being, if it stays the same, is it's going to be another. Wow, I can't remember his name.
Zora Magdaros?
Zora. Yeah, it's going to be another Zora fight essentially, and that's honestly the weakest fight in Monster Hunter World is Zora. So
I enjoyed it for the storytelling aspect of the game, like the fact that we now
I
have
agree with
story
you there.
actively in the game. I think it was cool,
Yeah.
but it definitely was akin to a Lao Shan, 10 to 100 times bigger than a Lao Shan. So if you'd have to shrink down Lao, or you'd have to give us a full-grown adult Lao, which might as well just be another Zora Magdaros. So probably not a great idea to bring him back.
Yeah.
In that sense, but if they were to revisit the series and remake some of the entries and then thus forth bring new monsters into it, having a Lao in it, I think would be kind of cool. If they were to evolve the fight a little bit.
They can make it, I think what they did with Call of Teroth is probably the best case scenario for Lao. If they were to bring him back.
Okay.
Make it like an actual siege and like have, mechanics behind it. I don't know.
I agree.
Have it do more.
Yeah, it'd be.
I think I said that in the past.
Yeah.
That I viewed Kolv as like an evolved version of a Lao fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
did.
What I would like to see is it, because like when you're fighting, it's fleeing from a Fatalis, right? You know, it's not super concerned with you so much as it is getting away from a Fatalis. I'd like to see it outside of that context. Like, you know, why is it, you know, what would it be like fighting you if you were to invade its area? Or if it was defending its home versus fleeing from something else? Like, have it actually be an angry...
I don't know.
essence.
I kind of feel like it would be the eel at the bottom of what is the name of that map? It's not Dire Docks.
You're talking about the
Mario 64.
No, I think you're right. I think it is Dire.
Dire Docks.
Is it? Yeah, Dire Docks. Like, it's the eel in the ship. I feel like that's how Laoshan would be if you'd walk into the mountain. It's like, rawr. That's about it. Like, hey, this is my home. Get out of here.
Okay.
If you were to make it like a new fight, and maybe give us like a place like Dondurma, but gave us the interior workings of the city, and actually have it siege a city, and you could move between levels of buildings and jump on cannons and then get on its back and like try to like corral it on a path out of the city rather than through the city. Like maybe instead of if the end goal is like don't let it hit the capital kind of thing, then maybe it could be like an interesting, compelling fight, and you could add different elements to it. But the problem
you'd have to
that,
drive it away.
Open world, it doesn't give it much context or reason. It's just like, oh, here's this big giant beast in this big giant area, and I'm just gonna hit it with my sword and hope something comes of it.
Yeah.
Sorry, that context could be on the back of a Monster Hunter case. This is big giant beast in this big area. I'm gonna hit it with my sword and see what happens. 10 out of 10, Monster Hunter.
Still a better love story than Twilight, all right?
The early reviews of Monster Hunter were pretty close to that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Not a very good start for the series.
Kill dragons.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I always describe it as kill big monsters and make things from monsters so you can kill more monsters.
There was a tweet earlier that the Monster Hunter Twitter retweeted. Alright, it's from PC Gamer. Monster Hunter World brings high fashion and dragon murder to demanding PC release. Our review. Dragon murder. Just love
murder.
that phrase. Like, why?
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure PETA already hates the game enough. Do you got to say that too?
You know what? I've never actually seen a PETA Monster Hunter bit.
I haven't either. But
well,
I'm gonna see if
it wasn't popular enough. I mean, they were too busy making
they added blood
Pokemon Dungeon 3 or whatever.
The Monster Hunter series has gone through like an evolving stage of like visual gore to non-visual gore to kind of humorous gore, but then like redacted that gore.
Now we're like down to nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you could never cut a Kelby in half, so.
Huh. Apparently they
cut Velociprey.
They've never actually submitted a complaint, but you know, PETA's also complained about like Mario with Tanuki suits and apparently Cooking Mama.
They're just
they never complain about a
mythological creatures just aren't cared for the same.
They're just Palumu dung insane. That's all they are. That's it.
Los lives matter.
Whoa.
Okay. Thank you, Hunters, for joining us today for our discussion on many different things today, including Leo Shun. And this is at Hunters Hub Pod is where you can find me, Fortuan here. And I will see you guys next quest. But on that quest, where am I going to find you, Omni Toad?
Either on Twitch or Twitter. It's Omni Toad on both of those. Same thing. So, yeah.
Nice. Kind of like me. Fortuan everywhere. And where are we going to find you, Virtue?
At Brother Virtue on Twitter and or twitch.tv Brother Virtue _ on Twitch.
And Toaster.
You can find me at Toasty Smiles on the Twitters, as well as on just random places, Reddit, the wilds, maybe like your backyard or something. I don't know.
That's a long trek for you, man. That's a long trek.
Why did you have to get creepy about it?
Maybe if he's in my backyard, I'm just like, hey, can you pull those weeds back there?
He's in your backyard. It's like at Twitter.
Toasty smiles, and he turns his head, and it turns all the way upside down. And you're like, okay, I'm out.
Please let me in. It's cold and there's wolves out here.